We've all been there. You're lying in bed trying to sleep when out of the corner of your eye, you think you see something move. But hey, no need to be alarmed. It was all in your head, right? Now, what if we told you there's actual evidence of some things that are supposed to be motionless that don't actually stay that way? If you're not too afraid, stick with us here at the Hub and watch these mysterious moving statues caught on camera. Don't pretend you're made of stone. Move your fingers and click to subscribe to our channel and turn on the alerts. The statues won't move if they hear our videos playing. Turning Egyptian. We like the movie Night at the Museum as much as the next person, but nobody actually thought it was anything more than a silly Ben Stiller movie. Who would have thought that in 2013, just a few years after the movie came out, we'd be seeing a real-life version? Well, in the Manchester Museum in England, that's exactly what happened. An ancient statue in their possession started to do some odd things right under the employees' noses. The statue of a man named Neb Senu appeared to be moving on its own throughout the day. This particular statue was created around 1800 BC as a medium for the soul of this Egyptian man. The movement went unnoticed until one day the museum's Egyptologist thought something seemed off and decided to play back the security footage. What he noticed came as a total shock. The statue was clearly spinning in its case. There were several theories thrown out, of course. One was that the museum's curator had secretly been moving it throughout the day and editing himself out of the footage. Another idea was that there was a curse brought upon by the mummy that the statue was stolen from. No matter what your theory may be, one conclusion is easy to come to. It's super creepy. Buddha's face. If the last selection was based on a comedy movie, this one is definitely based on a mystery. Because in Malaysia, an unexpected phenomenon has been going on for years. According to witnesses in these real videos, several Buddha statues have had the appearance of movement. They seem to be moving their lips, chest, and hands. And in some cases, there's even been reports of the Buddha statues blinking. All traditional explanations seem to go out the window with this one. According to a self-proclaimed expert on scene, these statues originally emitted a light from their bodies, and they later went on to make sounds. We unfortunately don't know what those sounds were, but hopefully it wasn't anything creepy. Finally, they began to move, which is what we're able to watch on camera now. The scary thing is that most people would think camera tricks like adjusting the exposure are being used, but we refuse to pass judgment until we get a chance to see for ourselves. People flock to see the Buddha statues from hundreds of miles away and return year after year. Why would they keep coming back if it wasn't real? It's definitely plausible that this could all be a promotional stunt, but for now, the mystery continues. Holy head. Don't think for a second that Buddhists are the only ones with moving statues. Let's take a look at this footage from northeast Mexico and see what the Catholics were able to find. In the city of Saltillo, there was a Catholic procession taking place with a giant statue of Jesus. Like many Christian events, plenty of eyes were on the Jesus. And it was a good thing too, because what they saw shook many people to their core. Luckily, the camera was rolling when it appeared as if the statue moved its head. The Jesus statue seemed to look up, as if it were peering at the path ahead. Many people screamed out that it was a miracle, while others weren't so sure. Like many moving statue evidence, people want to claim that it's inconclusive. They say there's many explanations for the movement. For example, the wind might have blown the head upwards, or there may have been a human pushing the head with some hidden apparatus. No matter what you might believe, some Catholics do believe in modern miracles. Do you think this qualifies as one? Let us know in the comments if you think this is a scam or the real thing. Red tears. Let's stick with Catholicism for the moment and take a journey to South America. In the small Argentinian town of Los Naranjos, villagers were arriving by the hundreds because in April of 2017, worshippers were declaring that a miracle had occurred. A statue of the Virgin Mary was crying tears of what many believed to be blood. Originally in the home of a private owner, the statue quickly became a shrine when word got out. The family finally decided to let a local radio station know about the mysterious occurrence, and people started to arrive by the busload. However, it should be noted that a local priest begged people not to jump to conclusions. He claimed that the church had to do further investigation before they could call it a genuine miracle. If you had a statue that started leaking red liquid from its eyes, would you call the radio station too? This type of sensation has actually been happening in the Catholic Church for years, and all that time, they've only declared one to be a certified miracle. Only time will tell if this crying statue will become legendary or wind up just another hoax. Easter event. Let's go down the checklist with this next entry. It happened on a holiday? Check. The statue was incredibly old? Check. People called it a miracle? Triple check. This video, taken in Mexico, is a lot like others on this list. It seems to show a statue of Jesus moving away that shouldn't be possible. It was filmed on Easter Sunday and almost instantly went viral. What sets this apart from the other selections, however, is it seems Jesus was responding to the song being belted out. Often with the phenomenon of moving statues, it occurs when nobody is watching or happens independently of people interacting around them. But this Jesus statue seemed to have other plans. Even after the clear video evidence, not everybody's buying it. In fact, the priest who was giving the sermon that day doesn't even believe it was a miracle. He claims that the rope holding the statue up simply gave way, creating a realistic-looking head nod. The 300-year-old statue was heavier than they anticipated and simply buckled under the stress. The priest also said that he would not be calling the church authorities to verify its legitimacy, but that he does want it filed as an unusual event. Eye-opening experience. It's only natural to be skeptical about these mysterious events. After all, who among us has seen a statue move in real life? And we don't mean those street performers. Although, they're pretty scary too. This next statue was so bizarre that it came under intense scrutiny. So much so that a team of paranormal experts spent weeks investigating it. In a Mexican church, a statue of Jesus seems to open its eyes while being recorded. Was it just dumb luck, or did we all get fooled by some clever video editing? Well, if you have any trust in the authority of 20 different specialists, including priests, sculpture makers, video editors, and special effects designers, then the video is entirely real. After getting posted online, the video went viral and the skeptics came out from every direction, trying to prove it had been faked. It's hard to claim that this one was an optical illusion. With so many experts talking about the video, the next question would be to ask the church if they considered it a miracle. But oddly enough, the authorities from the church refused to comment on it. Wow. Did they believe that the world had been fooled? Or maybe that something supernatural was in play? What do you think? The Floating Lady. Unfortunately, in 1985, video cameras weren't as easily available as they are now. They didn't even have cell phones then, let alone a way to document a miracle. But what people described happening in Ireland is so tremendous, we just had to include it on this list. In July and August of 1985, upwards of 100,000 people descended upon the village of Ballinspittle to witness a mysterious occurrence. According to reports, the statue known as Our Lady had begun to move. Although it brought in many believers, skeptics also had to see if there was any truth to the stories. And shockingly enough, most people who went there became converts. There were reports from 2 local families that they actually saw the statue floating in mid-air. Further research into the statue found that there were no hidden wires or hidden apparatus attached. Much like the other moving statues we've seen today, a local religious leader asked people to be cautious with their claims of supernatural intervention. He said that the actual cases of miracles are so rare that people shouldn't assume it was real. A local professor at the nearby university had an explanation for the events. He stated that it was no more than an optical illusion, brought upon by staring at the same area for a long period of time, and also that the reports of movement conveniently only happened when it was dark out. Did he ever consider that maybe the statue was a night person? No jewelry, please. There's a whole lot of Jesus statues on this list. Let's mix it up a bit, shall we? In a Hindu temple rests a beautiful golden statue of Sai Baba, an Indian spiritual master. During the real man's life, he was beloved by both Hindus and Muslims alike. His main teachings included the realization of self and the criticism of material things. You're probably wondering, why the history lesson? Because what he believed as a man applies directly to what his statue did while being filmed. Whenever the statue was being recorded, it was adorned with flowers and garland around its neck. But as the night went on, the statue appeared to move its shoulder, detaching the garland from its body. Just like how Sai Baba believed material possessions shouldn't be important, so too did the statue. There are many critics of this phenomenon, and it would be irresponsible not to address a few of them. With many video cuts, one could easily make the case that the tape was somehow doctored. It's entirely possible that the video was paused and a sneaky person ripped away the garland bit by bit. But we believe the main culprit might be something even simpler than that. Have you ever heard of a thing called gravity? It almost seems as if the garland slowly falls off during the night until it bursts altogether. We weren't there to see it ourselves, so all we can do is take an educated guess from this video. Moving Mary. Surprise! Another religious statue. Either these statues are more prone to moving, or the people involved are more likely to create a hoax. In Christianity, the Virgin Mary is known as the Mother of Jesus, and on this list, she's known as a very active statue. Many times we hear about religious figures confirming or denying the authenticity of the movement, but in this case, it was an entire government. In January of 2016, it seems that a lucky onlooker was able to capture a once-in-a-lifetime event on camera. In the uploaded film, a large group in Vietnam is standing around a statue of the Virgin Mary. It's at this point that a voice exclaims that the statue had begun to move. This included the movement of her cloak and a turning of her head. It's obvious that the people watching through the camera believe it's real, as they yell out in joy. But what makes this event so remarkable is that the Vietnamese government confirmed it is accurate. We're not totally sure what they'd have to gain by making the story up, so we'll let you be the judge of this supernatural statue. Do you think it's real? Creepy the Dwarf. Our last creepy statue is a bit different from the rest. We've seen the hard to explain and the unbelievable. But now we're gonna see something that's legitimately jump out of your seat scary. Many of us remember watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs when we were younger. Or maybe you like it so much you still watch it today. No judgment here. One unlucky person from Veracruz was probably just like you, until they came across these statues. While exploring at night in the Mexican city, this adventurer found a set of dwarf statues along with Snow White. By the looks of it, they've been outdoors for a while and beat down by the weather conditions over the years. Illuminated only by a flashlight, they went one by one across the faces of the famous Disney characters until finally landing on the princess. As they examine her, they lean in close and wait, and wait, and wait, and then... BAM! Out of nowhere, the statue blinks at the camera. It's kind of enough to give you the chills. The person with the camera smartly decides to run off after this. We would definitely agree that was the right choice. Would you have ran away if this nightmare-inducing princess blinked at you? A lot of people would probably need to change their pants. We're sorry to say we've reached the end of the video. Make sure you check out more videos from the hub before you go to sleep tonight. But when your head is resting on your pillow and your blankets are pulled up high, remember one thing. If you see something move, it might not be in your imagination. See you next time.